Hi, babe. Welcome to the Horror Babe Show. I'm your host, Chelsea Beller. Today's guests are Anastasia Washington and Gina Hendry. Gina wrote and directed the horror shorts Dead Head and Gaslighter, both of which Anastasia performed in. Gina, Anastasia, and I discuss horror movie Icks, horror origin stories, and so much more. Let's tune in to my conversation with Anastasia and Gina. Hi, babe. Welcome to the Horror Babe Show. I'm your host, Chelsea Beller, and today we have Anastasia Washington and Gina Hendry on the ghost couch today. Hi, ladies. So spooky.
So spooky.
Thank you both so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Oh my god, of course. I just watched Dead Head and Gaslighter.
Yes.
Gaslighter. That one actually scared me.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Sorry,
And-
not sorry.
Oh my god,
love
never
that.
be sorry for that. And that's only 7 minutes, I
Almost
think.
8, yeah. It's a 7,
Yeah.
3.
It was shot really well. I was just really impressed. I mean, I was impressed with both of them, honestly. But yeah, like, I think I prefer to be scared more. I was like, oh, okay, all right.
Thank you. We,
Oh my God,
we
you're
went
welcome.
for the scares on that one.
Yeah.
Deadhead is horror comedy, but Gaslighter is definitely creepy.
Yeah, definitely Deadhead has more gore in it, though.
It does.
Like, if you're a gore
And creatures.
like that is definitely the one
If
to
you're a
watch.
creep show fan, that one's
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
But Gaslighter, I think, it's definitely scarier and how most women feel a lot,
Uh-huh.
I would say.
Should we
Yeah.
synopsize this movie?
Synopsize.
For the
Please.
listener?
Yeah.
So Gaslighter is a short film about a woman who comes home late at night from work by herself. She's on the phone with her boyfriend who's out of town for a job interview. And when she gets to her front door, it's unlocked. And she knows she locked it, but her boyfriend says, "No, you probably just forgot." And she says, "Well, the porch light's off." And he's like, "You probably forgot to set the timer." And she knows that she should be afraid, and he just kind of convinces her that she's overreacting. Sound familiar?
Yeah. I've definitely had that, like, moment.
For sure.
Yeah. Multiple times.
I think all women have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is sad, and which is what we're trying to comment on.
Yes. I mean, just earlier today, I was doing laundry, and, like, I was so sorry.
No, it's
He
fine.
has no control of this.
No, it's not me either.
Even when I was just leaving the apartment to go downstairs, I was like, do I take my keys? Do I not? But you never know. And as a woman, like, you're just constantly living in that fear of, like, a terrifying stranger can walk into my apartment the minute I go downstairs. Like, you just never know. So I really appreciated that because,
Well, thank you.
yeah.
We're
Right.
raised from young women, like young girls, to be expecting to be attacked by a man at some point in our lives.
Yeah.
And so I think when we leave the house, it's like, who are we going? Who are we meeting? What are we wearing? Are our keys in our hands when we go to the car? Is someone going to be there to walk us to the car after?
Yeah.
And, all of these things are in our heads when we leave the house. And typically men just get to leave the house. So they don't understand all of the reasons why we're on high alert all the time.
Right.
So then I don't think we give the benefit of the doubt to Jeff in the movie. He's not actively trying to gaslight her, but
Right.
he's part of a system that is
Yeah.
a patriarchal system that kind of keeps women in a vulnerable place where we are afraid that we're going to get attacked, and then when we express that we feel that we're in danger because we know, then we're just dismissed.
Yeah.
And I'm typically, because I typically date black men, that seemed ironic to me because, like, I was very concerned about their well-being and how I was always believing that they, if they said they were in danger or whatever. So I felt like I, as a woman of color, should have also been listened to. And so I think there's that layer of that in Gaslighter too. I think I try to remain calm in it mainly because when you are a woman of color, if you go over the top, then you're hysterical. And I think a lot of women feel that, but for women of color, it's even like amplified, because it's like, then you're hysterical, then you're, you know, you're aggressive, then you're whatever. So it's like that pull of like, I am really scared, I can't freak out that much, because if I definitely, they don't believe me now, they're definitely not gonna believe me if I freak out.
Right. Well, you know, who's gonna help you? You know,
who's gonna help me?
In the film, she, you know, says that she wants to call the police, and her boyfriend says, are you sure you want to do that as a non-white person? You know, that's another level of scare. It's like, are you better off not calling the police?
Which is horrible.
Yeah, it's a horrible thing.
So horrible.
Well, it's horrible that women have to run around, like if they're taking a jog or something, you have to take your ID so they can identify your body. I mean, it's like the things that we do.
Think about.
Yeah. Just a broad question.
For broads.
Yeah. What led you down the path of horror? What's your horror origin story?
I've always liked darker stories. Stories in general. My stepfather is a preacher, and also a cinephile, and he told me when I was very young that if I wanted to say something, that I should make films, instead of, you know, people remember the worst movie they've ever seen before they remember the best sermon that he's ever preached. And that just always kind of stuck with me, but I always really liked sort of darker stories. First book was Carrie, and
nice.
I was like, oh, I like this.
Yeah.
And then I think the first horror film, I mean, I'm sure there were others, but the first one that sort of made an impact was Poltergeist. And it's kind of a perfect film. And so I think as a child of the 80s, there was just so much good horror that I just really sort of loved it. I liked the sort of nerdy, bookish outsider final girl. I kind of felt like I related to that.
Yeah.
So
that's
me,
cool. I love that.
For me, I guess I have like weird, different origins. I mean, my first like horror film that I remember watching is The Shining.
Nice.
Or Jaws, and I think I was like 3.
It's your first childhood memory period.
Actually, no, but they're much darker than that.
Silly Rabbit.
I used to tap dance with Scatman from The Shining, and then he passed away, and my mom was like, "You're really sad. I should show you a movie that he's in," and she chose The Shining, which he has a huge career, but she said then she showed me The Shining, in which he dies again. My mom was always like a huge horror fan. Like every woman in my family is a huge horror fan. I didn't get into like being into horror movies until I was like, I don't know, 6 or 7. I was in, I guess it's not a horror movie. Addams Family. You think it's a horror movie?
It's in the.
It's like a gateway. It's like a gateway kid.
I think so.
So that was like my first role in a horror film, and I think I loved. It's like one of the sets that's like most iconic for me. The one that I remember the most because I just had so much fun. I really enjoyed it, and I have such good memories of Raul Julia and like Christina Ricci, like being like with her blood like splurting out like during our like teaching sessions, because you have to go to, you know, if you're a kid actor, you have to go to school on set, so she couldn't take off her prosthetic during school, so it just was like squirting, and she got me in so much trouble because I just couldn't stop staring at her, like, and they were just like, you have got to do your work, and I was like, how can anybody work with this glorious guzzling blood? I think I fell in love with the kind of people that made horror then, you know, and I think I loved the blood and guts. I was definitely not scared. Yeah. I was scared of like haunted houses until like way too late. But like horror movie, like, right? There's something about like them jumping out at you. I had to go to hypnotherapy to get out of it.
Did you really?
I did.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to go back for a couple other phobias, but
interesting.
They're like, let's go one phobia at a time. But like, oh, come on, who has time? Just knock them all out.
Yeah. Did you give a synopsis of Dead Head or just Gaslighter?
Just Gaslighter.
Do you want to, or?
I'll let you do it.
Dead Head. Okay.
I want to hear your take.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Deadhead is about, I feel so like I'm gonna say something stupid. Deadhead is about a woman in her 50s who is working at a job that she like basically established this company and like really like grew with the company, and then they decide that she's expendable one day, and they fire her, and through kismet or some kind of weird alien type thing, she
It's plant horror.
It's plant horror. I'm like, she's a gardener, and
she like pricks her
she
finger,
pricks her finger
on a thorny plant,
and becomes a super mantis.
She becomes a mantis creature
And takes her female revenge on all the males.
Which was so great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We got some notes from men on that one.
It's
too.
the penis. It's always the penis. They hate the penis.
They don't like.
I loved that.
Okay,
Yeah.
for listener viewer.
Oh, sorry.
Spoiler alert. At the end of this film, there is a severed penis, and
The penis is severed. Yeah.
and so we've had some feedback, and it was also in a sort of comedic tone. It wasn't,
Yeah.
torture porn. or
Oh,
anything,
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen like breasts severed from a woman's body. So like, I'm sorry, what is the
talking about the
difference?
Terrifier franchise,
Yes.
you've seen a person completely.
Yeah.
Hot dog style.
And it's so funny when I watched that movie with my mom, like everybody does watch their Terrifier with their mom, right?
Yes, of course.
Everyone
Mhm.
does. And
Yep.
we watched all actually Terrifiers together.
Drinking tea, watching Terrifier.
Yeah, of course. And my mom is not like squeamish. There's only been like 2 horror movies that I've seen her go, I don't like this, I don't want that. And I mean, we've seen the sadness like all these different like various movies, gory movies. And she was like, when that happened, she was like, oh my gosh, no. And I was like, really? I did not have, I think I did not have the same
Yeah.
reaction.
It's funny what everyone's ick is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have weird icks, so
What are some of yours?
Is that one of your categories?
one of your weird
Actually,
icks.
no, but I want to talk about this now.
So I don't like the I can't even the ankle.
The ankle.
Oh, I don't like that either.
Okay.
The Achilles tendon,
You don't need to say that.
like in Hostel.
Don't say that.
Yeah.
You know,
Interesting.
obviously another ick in movies for me is animals dying. I'd rather see like, this sounds so bad. I'd rather see like 20 humans murdered, and maybe like half a baby, and not
Just
an
half a
animal.
baby.
Half a baby.
Just
Just
half.
like a little.
Just one leg.
Like, the baby's okay, but he's like maimed. That's fine. No animals shall be harmed. So that's my ick.
Fair.
Yeah.
Gina.
I don't like to watch people suffer.
So you don't like horror movies?
I like.
I'm so joking.
Yeah, I like an inventive kill. But the torture thing. That
The torture porn.
I don't like that.
Okay.
I don't like to see like a prolonged suffering.
Fair.
Even if they kind of deserve it, I don't like it.
I like it.
She likes it.
I like it too. Yeah.
My ick is her yum. Yeah, my yuck is your yum.
Yeah. I mean, there are like, I do have like parameters. Like there are
Sure.
things. I do have feelings.
I am human.
I am
You're not a
human.
monster.
I'm not a monster.
So about Deadhead, I loved the incorporation of both physical or practical and virtual effects. And what was the vision behind that? And also,
What's a two-parter?
sorry.
I might forget.
What was the vision behind that?
I really wanted it to be a female monster. So but I also really love sort of old school monsters. So I talked to my creature person about doing starting with like the creature from the Black Lagoon and then making it into a mantis because I wanted it to be very much like a female, and also
I
there's
love
a
that.
decapitation that happens, so that made sense to me. But what was really fun what was really fun about that is the actress who plays the creature, who's also the protagonist in the movie, we offered to get, a creature actor, and she's like, no, I really want to play this. I want it to be obvious that it's me in there.
Good for her.
I sort of just, when I was directing her and she was in the creature outfit, I just was like, costume. I just was like, okay, let's, just kind of look at yourself in the mirror. But she had done this work with it, and she just kind of like felt up her body and just kind of like looked at herself as though she admired what she saw instead of being horrified or afraid.
Right. Yeah.
And I felt like it was kind of the first time in the movie where you see her really feel empowered in the suit, and I loved her her choices with that. I didn't even come up with that. She came up with all that.
I did too. I thought she was such a great fit. Yeah. What is her name again?
Her name is Takia Crystal Kima. And she is, I know her because I'm a little older from In Living Color. Such a huge show in the 90s. I looked her up on IMDb Pro. I didn't know her. Oh. And I offered her the role. There aren't a lot of scream queens of color in that sort of age group. True. And
that's very
so
true.
It's a little disappointing, and we're fixing that. I thought, well, it has comedy in it, and even though her role isn't comedic, she's like the straight person in it. She really got into it and was really game for all of it, and I was so lucky that she said yes to us.
She's so good.
Oh yeah.
She's such a great actress.
I thought she was phenomenal.
Yeah, thank you. I did too. And I was just so lucky to work with her. But the choices that she made were just way better than I thought. It was really crazy.
She's been doing this for so long.
Yeah.
She's got some great instincts. It was really fun. It was really fun to play with her. Yeah.
It was so cool to see you two have that chemistry on set too. Like, what was your experience working with her?
I mean, it was great.
Yeah.
I mean, we only actually met that day.
Oh, really?
And I definitely.
You're playing her like.
I was
best
playing her best
work friend.
like her best work friend, and I felt like that. I felt instantly like that. I think it was really cool because I think a lot of people think I'm very bold and like sassy and like
she says like this.
Yes, and I don't think I'd ever say the things that I say in the movie at a workplace, but I loved that, and I think it kind of released a little in me.
Ooh, yeah.
Maybe I am that badass.
There were a couple of people too. Like you don't really see those kinds of quieter moments in a movie like this where you have like a genuine friendship in the movie, and there were people who said maybe cut this because it's long, and maybe cut that part, and I'm like, this is the only time you see someone on her side,
right?
I would never cut that, but it is, people aren't used to kind of seeing that like kind of a quieter moment like that, where it's two women who really understand each other and see each other, and I'm like, well, why is that?
They fleshed out their characters and their relationship in the workplace and her relationship to the workplace, and like why it was so devastating for her to lose her job, and I thought it was imperative to the whole thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I agree. Plus, anytime that you can have Anastasia be in your movie, you want her on there.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Of course. Oh, who did the effects?
We had a really limited budget, and so we had to do a lot of VFX at the end. And the person who did the VFX was Tom Mosier. He's done a lot of animation, but he's also, he worked with Chelsea on Satanic Panic.
Oh, fun.
And that's was really cool. So we kind of had a mix of practical and VFX because of our budget. I couldn't swing the $75,000 suit. So
oh my god!
Next
you didn't need to
for the sequel.
Gaslighter is currently on the festival circuit. Is that right?
Yeah, we premiered at Screamfest in October.
That's so fun.
It was so fun.
It was like the greatest.
It was like camp. It was like Halloween camp. We had such a good time. And then we've had some other. We won an audience award at Horror House for our block, and we went to New York City.
Yeah. And we're
Sacramento.
Going to...
And
are we allowed to say that?
Oh, Renegade.
Yes.
With Allison.
Oh,
yes, that's right.
Yeah.
We're flying together.
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. It's weird.
And weirdly enough, I'm a voice in her phone.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
Locked too.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
Which was funny because I was actually on set. Like, I think people think it's like a voiceover. I was literally on set on the phone with her. Because it's like she's basically killed a guy and she has to pick up her daughter. So she calls the police while she's like, I gotta go pick up my daughter.
Yeah.
And you're just going to be dead.
Yeah, and so I'm this dispatch.
Yeah.
Being like, oh, you killed a guy, you can't just like go pick up your kid.
Yeah.
What?
What do you mean?
And then there's a short film that I've been, I guess, asked to direct.
Exciting.
That will be in April. Yeah, and I have a feature that we just had a table read for a feature script that I really want to make. But, in the meantime, I'm just out there making short films.
Yeah.
Trying to sharpen my tools.
You gotta do it.
Yeah.
You gotta do it. What inspired you to write Gaslighter? If there was like a specific story? Or
There is a specific story.
Do you want to talk about it?
Sure,
Because you don't have to.
No, it's totally fine. So when one of my jobs when I first moved out to LA was an assistant to a talent manager.
Of course.
And it was really just the two of us, so I was often by myself at night before he would dismiss me. And this one night he dismissed me, and I went downstairs to use the restroom before getting into traffic, and there was a guy, it was down the hall, and there was a guy standing looking out the window wearing a hoodie and talking to himself.
Oof.
And I just kind of stopped for a minute, and he turned around and took his hoodie off and took a step toward me, and I didn't even engage. I just took off running down the stairs.
Yeah.
And I ran down the stairs. I went to the security guard and I said, there's somebody up on the 4th floor. Like, you need to call someone.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's just your imagination. Like, he really said that to me, and I said, what? Like, what an odd thing to say. And I said, no, it wasn't my imagination. And the school during the day was also like a school for the arts.
Oh,
The building.
Yeah.
And so he said maybe it was just like a kid playing a joke on you. I was like, it really wasn't. Like, you have to call somebody.
It is literally your job to secure the building.
So
like,
he goes,
can you just...
okay, you stay here. I'm going to go check it out and I'll be right back. And I'm like, that's all the things that you don't say in a horror film. Anyway, so he came back down and he said, there's nobody up there. And I said, you have to believe me. And I got my phone out and I was like, if you're not going to do anything, I'm going to call the police.
Right.
And he goes, no, don't call the police. He said, it actually is the police. They're up there. They're looking out the window and they're staking out this motel. And that's why he was talking. He was talking to somebody in his ear. He wasn't talking to himself. And I said, well, why didn't you tell me that? And he goes, because they told me not to say anything. I'm like, but I saw him.
Yeah.
Like, and he goes, well, I'm sorry. And I go, so wait, hold on. You were okay sending me from here to my car to drive home thinking that I was hallucinating? Like, I didn't need medical help or something? Like, I got really angry. I said a lot of bad words that I won't repeat, but
you can.
Yeah, I was really upset. And all my adrenaline had just gone through my body, so I was physically shaking for like 2 hours.
Oh yeah, you would be.
I was telling Anastasia that story, and I said I really, with everything that's happening right now, the way that women and people from marginalized groups are kind of targeted, and it just seems like a good place to start for a film. And so then we changed it, but the impact, I think, is still the idea is still the same. And I think we all have, when we started talking, I think all of us have had little stories like that, and you see it all the time in movies. And we talked about the kind of movies we have wanted to make together, because this is our second film together.
Right.
And we want, we're women. We want to make films that have our horrors and experiences in them. And horror and sci-fi, I think, are really perfect avenues for allegory, especially a short film. If you're not making like a joke film with a punchline, I think a short film works really well if you have some messaging. But when you put it in the context of horror or sci-fi, I feel like it feels less preachy and more entertaining. Dead Head was not based on any of
No?
Actually. Well, I mean, as a woman who is aging, because I'm 50 years old.
Wait, women age?
Yes, they do.
What?
They get put out faster, apparently. And so that was something that I was, kind of struggling with in a Handmaid's Tale world. Like, what's your use as a woman?
Right.
at a certain age.
Right.
So I think that feels something that I wanted to discuss.
Yeah. So Anastasia, I did watch a little bit of your comedy.
Oh, thanks.
I did comedy for a little while.
Oh, yay.
And so that's why I was like so fascinated. Because also like I had this conversation with Mary O'Neill where we were talking about there's this strange correlation between horror and comedy.
Yeah.
She said it so perfectly. She said, well, there's a setup for both. Mm-hmm. And I was like,
it's all about timing.
Well, yes.
It's all about timing.
Yeah.
And horror has timing, comedy has timing, and playing with those together is such a fun, awesome.
They do share DNA. Like there is the structure of a joke in there, and you have to pay it off.
Yeah.
Like in Dead Head, do we want to lean into the comedy or the horror? And we chose the comedy.
Yeah.
But I think you kind of do need to make a decision. Otherwise, it's going to be neither.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's like the tone.
Yeah, I think it's tone more than it is like choosing genre. I think if you base things in a nice, realistic, grounded way, it feels natural to incorporate them.
Yeah.
I love a horror comedy.
Who was it that said it's comedy and horror are the same? It's the same movie with different music.
Yeah, it's Jordan Peele.
Okay.
Oh.
Jordan Peele, the master.
Yeah.
He would.
Yeah, he's everything I want to be except for I want to act more.
But when you and I, like, we worked on Dead Head together, and then I feel like, at least for me, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this woman. She's like my sister already. And she's been really welcoming to me and bringing me into her sort of coven. Mm-hmm. And have met just like the most wonderful people, like Allison that you've interviewed, and Fina, and Chelsea, and Shannon,
and Bria,
I just had a conversation with Bria actually, and she gave me this advice: just remember to always be bold, like make bold choices, take big swings. I really appreciate that because I think a lot of times people are kind of wanting you to play it safe. But I think especially in horror, you really do need to take big swings. And I think to hear that from another woman who's making features, who's so brilliant, and to get that sort of encouragement. I feel like even like with Chelsea, she's very protective of us. I feel like I haven't encountered that in any other sort of community. Yeah.
You talked about your screenplay, correct? Love to Watch You Bleed. Did you mention the title?
Did I?
No, you said it.
No.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
So we just had a table read in December for
at the amazing Abysmal Studios.
That's right. Our friend Stephen Shea, who is wonderful. There's a feature that I wrote called Love to Watch You Bleed, and it is about a group of female juvenile offenders who put on this outward bound type program in the wilderness, and if they survive it and they're on good behavior, then they can go home because they're all about to turn 18 and then be sent to like adult prison, and they start getting picked off one by one, and they don't know who is doing it. It's a local person, one of them, or what. But it's it's all girls except for the head of the Outward Bound. He's a dude. My writing partner and I had originally set it in the 80s. I don't know if it was like a love letter to the 80s. It's more of a middle finger, but like
one and the same.
Yeah, like by response. Because, as a child of the 80s, the slashers were kind of what was on the menu, and I really loved them. Yeah. But there was kind of a moment where I was like, I don't think these movies are made for me. And I'm kind of bummed about that. So when I started writing with my writing partner, I was like, I would like to write a slasher that I would have wanted to see. Yeah. When I was a kid, where it was all these badass women being really smart, really fierce, really resourceful, and it wasn't just like one final girl. They're all like, right. I mean, they're still gonna die because it's slasher, but they fight back. Yeah. And so that's kind of the vibe of it, and
that's great.
It's kind of turned into this sort of Riot Girl 90s slasher. Fun. So, yeah, I'm really excited about it.
You're currently looking for producers?
Currently looking for a producer. It's been in a lot of different festivals and contests, and it usually places. Nice. We've not won, But there's been enough sort of validation that I feel like there could be something really.
There's something there.
I'm so excited for you guys. Like,
thank you.
You've done so much. You have so much to look forward to. Like, you have all these festivals and things.
Yeah.
Like,
well, you know why? Because, thank you for saying that. But, there was just some point where I was just, like, tired of being told no, because there's never like a good reason. Like, if I need more development, if I'm not good at something and I could do better, like, okay, that's fair, I want to work on it. But it was never a no for that reason. Right. It was always like, I got a lot on my plate, on my slate, I can't find room for it right now, I'll come back to you.
Right.
And so I think at some point I just was like, well, fuck this, I'm gonna just do what I can on my own, and that would turn into doing all these shorts. I still would like to make this feature, but in the meantime, I'm just gonna make things and be part of the discussion.
Yeah.
Like, you just have to be part of the discussion.
Absolutely.
And do it with people. This was advice given to me. Do it with people that are already doing the things you're trying to do, so you can make you better and challenge. When I'm doing these shorts, I'm not just doing them as an exercise. Like, I'm building my team that I want to bring onto the feature.
Make shit.
Yeah,
make shit with your friends.
Yeah.
Make shit with your friends, but then at the same time, when you're trying to level up, like, don't be afraid to reach out to professionals. That was a lesson that I learned. Like, don't be afraid to ask people to help you. So
that's a great lesson.
I think so. The company that did help me with Dead Head on the organ stuff, the transformation stuff.
Yeah.
That was a company called Autonomous FX, and it's Jason Collins' house.
Oh, okay.
And they do, promos for American Horror Story. They did the Glenn Close makeup on the Lee Daniels movie.
Oh, okay.
They do a lot of like huge Westworld. They do like a lot of huge projects.
Yeah.
But they also were like, we think what you're doing is really cool, and we want to support indie film. Let's make this happen for you. And they really worked with my budget, and they sent out a tech on a Saturday, and it was perfect. There are people out there who don't just assume that they'll say no to you.
Yeah. Well, on that hopeful note, I think I'll end it here. Thank you both so much again for being on the show, and
thank you for having us.
Oh, of course. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really just so excited for you both, and like keep me updated on everything.
Yeah, of course. We're besties now. So.
Good. Yay. All right. Bye, babe.
Bye.
Well, that's it from me, Gina, and Anastasia. Hope you enjoyed this week's Filmmaker Friday. Tune in every Friday for a new filmmaker interview episode. Please don't forget to like, comment, follow, and subscribe. You can follow Gina and Anastasia at the social media handles below. Bye, babe.